There was a time when things were so much more simple. In my youth, we watched things like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he taught us songs like Boys are boys from the beginning, girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Stay tuned for the show. Well, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, to my oldies but goodies. What's up, and welcome back. And to my newbies, I'm so glad you guys decided to check in today to have a little chit chat with me. Welcome to my channel. So, if you don't know me by now, I am your host, Alethea Jenkins, and I am here with another show to talk about something that I feel like needs to be talked about. I want to talk about the fact that I just believe that many, many, many times we glorify what looks to be mental illness. And this has been an ongoing thing. And of course, whenever you try to speak against it or you try to say something that brings it up to the surface for people to look at, people want to come down in the comment section and talk crazy to you. They don't care if it's your platform, because I just said the other day, this is my platform. If you don't like what I'm saying, then don't watch the channel. So, I thought it was important to put Mr. Rogers up there because he was of my era. When I was growing up, I watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and it was so squeaky clean that it was just ridiculous. But that's the era that I grew up in. There was a time when there was a great deal of decency, right? And the further back you go, things were a little bit more decent. Now, I'm not telling you that certain things weren't going on during those times, but it was more underground. It wasn't, people weren't as lascivious as they are now, right? They waving the flag, hey, I'm doing it. Hey, get over it, right? But there is a lot of things that come with that. And I think that it is feeding the decline of our culture, our world today. But before I get into that, let me tell you a little bit about what I do on this channel. I encourage women to take accountability for their actions, and I clear up a lot of the blurred lines that society throws at us, because y'all know in today's times we need the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
So when they say who gonna tell the truth, of course I raise my hand because my name means truth, right? So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Are we glorifying some things that look quite a bit like mental illness to me? And as I began to do research for this show, I started to look back in history to, like, what are some of the things that happened where we arrived at this place to say that men wearing women's clothing and women wearing men's clothing, this was okay. Like, and I know a lot has happened. However, like, what are some of the little breadcrumb things that happen along the way? Because these type things don't just show up on the scene. No, it's like, you ever heard of boiling the frog? How to boil a frog? You boil a frog. You put the frog in the pot, put some water in there, and you turn the heat up a little bit at a time. And the frog will stay in there because he don't know you're boiling it, because it ain't getting hot all at once. It's just getting hot a little bit at a time. And I think that that's how things have changed in our culture. Things have changed a little bit at a time. But when I start looking at, mental illness, you're dealing with the head, you're dealing with the spirit, the mind of a person, right? And when you start talking about mental illness, you're talking about any condition that affects your behavior, the mood of a person. So it's a wide spectrum of what specific mental illness may mean. People don't even understand that eating disorders and things like that, that's connected to mental illness. Obesity is connected to a certain level of mental illness, right? And so I wanted to look at a little bit of the history of what they call what do they call this thing? The DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that what is it called? Psychologists they use not necessarily let me see, what do you call those people? Your shrink. I can't you know I be getting mixed up in these words. But your shrink, they don't like being called that. Psychiatrist. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Lord. Words be just going just okay. A psychiatrist. So check this out. Here's the history of that. The DSM. There was a first version, but then there was a second version, and I think there was a third. There was at least some changes that happened for the third time. So check this out. So in the early editions of the DSM, homosexuality was listed as mental disorder, specifically as a sociopathic personality disturbance in the DSM 1. So yes, there was a 1. Um, this one was printed in 1952, and as a mental disorder in the DSM-2 of 1968. Now, then there was a declassification in 1973. The APA, following pressure from the LGBTQ plus activists and changing views within the field of psychiatry, voted to remove homosexuality from the DSM. And then, as far as sexual orientation is concerned, there were some things around sexual orientation disturbance. So initially, the removal wasn't complete. Hold on a second. Let me see. It wasn't a complete erasure, whatever that means. I have to look that up. The APA replaced the diagnosis of homosexuality with sexual orientation disturbance for individuals who were distressed in conflict with or wished to change their sexual orientation. Then there were some further changes. The concept of sexual orientation disturbance was eventually removed in 1987 with the publication of the DSM 3 R, and the focus shifted to addressing distress related to sexual orientation rather than the orientation itself. And so, needless to say, there were quite a few things that happened leading up to what we're seeing now, where you have women that are, glorifying it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of the problem that I have with it. I think, well, first, let me tell you what I really believe. Really, people should be able to live how they want to live. Now, is it right? That's another conversation. Now, my belief system and what I personally believe, I don't believe that it is. However, a person as an individual should have the right to live however they want to live because we are free as humans, right? Because if you start telling people how they can and cannot live, then you take away their basic human right, right, to decide for themselves. And I think even God gives us that. He gives us the freedom of choice. Now, when you start to talk about moral compass and whether it's right and its effects on society, now we're having a different conversation, right? And this is kind of the conversation that I want to have today. I want to talk about the effects of us saying, this is okay. Now, I said before I was going to tell you why I have a little bit of a problem with it. So, I have a problem with it because number one, my faith says that this is wrong. The Spirit of God says that this is wrong. The Bible says that this is wrong. And it actually says that a man shouldn't wear things that pertains to a woman, and a woman shouldn't wear things that pertain to a man. And that's really all things. You know what I'm saying? That if it pertains to you, that means it, all things. And I've always felt like there were so many different pressures that come with being a woman. Pressures, ailments, just issues that um come with being a woman. Now, do I love being a girl? Do I love being a female? Absolutely. I wouldn't be anything else. And I do know that some people have some struggles with that, but I for one am solid in understanding that I just love being a girl. But now see, let me tell you what I'm not saying. It ain't always easy being a girl. I mean, from PMS to issues that can come, in your girl parts that you just have to deal with, because you got them. And just the pressures of society. Not only to don't neglect the fact that if you black and you are a girl, that's a whole nother conversation. But so the problem that I have with it is just the fact that when you start looking at men that cross dress, yeah, you're getting the fun part. And I see it as them, it's like a dog and pony show. It's like they're creating caricatures, caricatures of women, and they don't have the other side of what it means to be a female, because that's the biological term for you got all the biological stuff, right? So they have the part that is presenting, but they don't have the biological part. So it's almost like it's being made a joke of. It's like it's we can do this and put it on and take it off whenever we get ready, and we don't even have to deal with all the other stuff that comes with it. Um, but majorly, it is due to what I know to be right or wrong. And who says this? Are you in charge of setting what's right or wrong, Alethea? No. The Spirit of God sets what's right or wrong. Because I'm going to tell you this. In my own thinking, and I'm just talking about me personally, today I might feel this way. And then as I get more information on some things, I might feel another way. And we are evolving and growing as humans all the time. So I can't depend on my own thinking to be stable. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're growing. Now I'm not talking about at this point being mentally unstable. I'm saying the healthy mind is always getting information, more information, and learning about life, right? So I can't depend on that to be absolute truth. And I don't necessarily believe in your truth, living your truth. There is a truth, and then there is the opposite. And then there is something that happens in the human mind as we grow and evolve. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily a truth. When I think about truth, I think about it goes across the ages. It is something of antiquity. It is something spiritual. This is why Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, right? So I think of something that never changes. I think that it's solid. It is a grounding thing. So whenever I view information, I have to look at, okay, so let me see what God says about this. Because at the end of the day, that is the solid truth. Now, I may come to some conclusions in my mind based on the information that I have, the environmental stimuli and things like that, that, you know what I'm saying, but may or may not be the truth, or it may change the more information that I get. So I cannot depend on my own thinking for the truth. The truth is spiritual, the truth is holy, the truth is everlasting. It doesn't really change like that. And so that's the problem with it. And I know earlier I said that women are glorifying it, men are glorifying it too. There are some men that are glorifying doing things that pertains to a woman, and there are some women that are glorifying doing things that pertains to a man. And I will say this, anybody who is sticking up for um, right and righteousness, that are saying no, that is saying, no, I'm a man, and here's how this goes, and here's how I'm teaching my sons, and here's what I think as a man. If you are solid in that and you speak out, you're going to catch some backlash. You're going to catch some big backlash.
Boys humble. Like my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give a I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tell the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old.
So after Anthony Mack was on the show Pivot that we just watched, he received so much backlash for things he said about Captain America, things he said about raising the way that he liked to raise his kids. And I didn't think that it was anything wrong. It didn't seem like he's abusive. Now it seems like he lets his children know now, you don't play with daddy. You don't play with daddy. And me being a boy mom, I completely understand the fact that you are raising young men to be grown men, right? And you have to establish early on that you are not to be played with, because as a mother, I had to establish the same thing because I was a single mother. So I completely get it. You have to have some rules and guidelines that go down in your house that say, look, do not play with me. I'm not for the play. I am not your friend. I love you. I have the responsibility of being a parent. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to love you. But we ain't friends. We're not friends because see that blurs the lines. And then they don't know when to play with you or when to see no. We're not friends. And so he got a lot of backlash from saying that he didn't buy his kids Jordans. And so, we're in this whole soft parenting era where the children run in the house. I believe that if you spare the rod, you're going to spoil the child. If you get that child the discipline that they need and desire, children actually desire discipline, because at the end of the day, we don't come here knowing or being socialized. We have to be taught right from wrong. A child will go and do anything just because foolishness, is in their heart. They don't know any different. So there has to be a parent around to discipline that child, to say, don't do that. Don't touch that. Don't say that. Or else they will not know it. But the viral trends that we have going on, they glorify things that appear to be, to me, mental illness. One in particular is this guy, Romeo Fox. I don't know whether the guy is mentally ill or not, or if he just high. Because in one of his stories, he put, somebody send me $1 so I can go get me a Swisher. So I don't know, his lips good and black. I mean, and all those things point to, yeah, you probably high. And so he's always in his car dancing and singing. And I'm saying dancing, doing a chair dance, being very dramatic and singing and crying. And this man has, I think last time I checked, it was 100.6K. People love it. If they don't love it, they show enough watching it. So I can't assume that they love it, but they show enough watching it to the point to where you're following him. So he's gonna for his whatever he videos he puts out, they're gonna come up in your algorithm because you are following him, right? So some type of way you love it, because I wouldn't be following anyone that I don't particularly like their content. And so he's usually in his car and he's singing something and he's shaking and he's quiet crying. Take a look at it. It looks quite strange for you to be somebody to have 100.6K followers and you acting like this. So what it look like to y'all? I mean, to me, like I said, I don't want to label the guy as being mentally ill, but it is given either mentally ill or high. I was going to say some type of a drug use, but high. But think we're not really counting up the cost of what this could mean for our current culture, the culture that we're shaping, or what it could mean for our children. Because you got quite a few people that, um, when they were doing a certain, let's say, I don't want to say it like that. I want to say when they were living a certain lifestyle, they looked a certain way. But you'll see as they begin to adopt new lifestyles, they'll begin to present in a different type of way. That this whole thing of um, a man doing things that pertains to a woman and woman doing things that pertain to a man, you'll see they begin to uh, change, switch it up. But another thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that Felicia Rashad was on the Breakfast Club just here recently, and she mentioned the fact that she's it's kind of concerning when she go on college campuses and she look at the way the women dress. And I wanted to talk about that because shortly after that, she got some backlash from what she said. And I think that she put it in the most graceful, peaceful way that anybody could have put a thing. But she was just giving her opinion based on what was asked to her. And of course, right after we watch Felicia's clip, we'll see a young lady who just went in. Just went in. So it's like what's wrong is right, and what's right is wrong.
Joining us. Yesterday, Felicia Rashad stopped through the show. We got a chance to sit down and talk with her. And this is one thing she said about the way women dress today. Let's listen.
You know, you came up in an era, Miss Rashad, where dignity and grace were everything. So do you ever look at how wild Hollywood is now and you just think to yourself, boy, y'all got it easy. Y'all wouldn't have got away with that in my day.
Mm. Yeah, I don't even have to look at Hollywood. I could look at the way young ladies dress. The young ladies are so beautiful. And I don't mean to be critical, and I hope young ladies listening don't take this as personal criticism, because I don't mean it that way. But you're young queens. I'm taken aback when I see on a college campus, young women dressed in strips of clothing.
Mm.
But more importantly than that, no man wants his woman to be out like that,
Mm.
right?
So we're taking your call.
Why is it that anytime older women try to give game to younger women, it always circles back to being about a man? No disrespect to Felicia Rashad. I respect that lady. I think she's beautiful. She's talented. She's everything. But she is a pick me also. I already peeped the game when she was riding for Bill Cosby. I don't feel like getting into all of that. But she was on the Breakfast Club and she was talking about the way that women dress today. Now, she's entitled to her opinion. That's totally fine. And I was okay with the message until she said, and most importantly, no man wants a woman that dresses whatever way they were talking about. Why is that the most important element when it comes to how a woman is dressing? And why don't people understand that not all women date men? There are some women that don't date men. There are a lot of women out here that have opted out of dating entirely and don't care about what a man want to see her in. Why does everything older women say always have to go back to a man? I don't understand that. They need to reprogram their minds. They need to reprogram their minds. Like, it's 2025. We work too hard to have autonomy, to always have to be connected to what a man likes and what a man doesn't like. If y'all constantly keep saying, oh, men don't like when women dress like this, men don't like when women wear their hair like this, wear lashes, wear makeup, this or whatever, and the woman is still doing those things that a man doesn't want, wouldn't that tell you that we don't care? Coco and Ice-T, she dressed however she wants to dress. She do whatever she want to do. And he's been married to her for how long? There are plenty of men that don't be getting in women's business like that. They don't care about policing women and trying to control every woman's every move. Y'all be the ones who try to control everything y'all women do because y'all are insecure and y'all care about the public's perception of you. And like I said, I would be totally fine with the message if she kept it about the women and themselves. But to constantly always have to bring something back to a man, it's crazy. It's getting old. It's been old.
Yeah, so I'll let you be the judge of determining was Big, I think her name is Big Rack, Big Rock, Big Rack, whether she was correct. Because does she have the right to have her own opinion about what she thought about what Felicia Rashad said? Absolutely. But was it right? Mm, that's a whole nother conversation. Um, I think number one, it is older women's job. It's a part of your purpose once you have the hoary head to teach younger women and teach them in the way that they should go. And I think that an older woman, someone of Felicia Rashad's age and status and grace, she's speaking to the younger generation in a way of decency with the understanding that most women are looking for a mate. That is the natural plight of a woman to desire her counterpart. Now, does that mean every single woman is going to desire her counterpart? No, because there are some women that are okay with being single. Some of them got to be okay because ain't nobody going to put up with them long enough to make them an honest woman, make them a wife. But then there's the other half that are living their lives against nature. And to even bring that up as though it is a triumph signals issues, right? This is where society is that says, we don't need no men. We don't need, we date each other as if that is a natural thing to do. Now, if that's what people decide to do, they have rights to do it because they are free to do whatever they decide to do. But if we're talking about is it right? And if we're talking about when you're teaching someone and trying to teach them right, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. And also, no, you should not care about what every single person in society thinks about you. However, there are some people that you should care what they think about you. If you go around your life saying, I don't give a doggone what nobody think, that's a problem. Now, I can even say on this platform, I don't care what you think, and I'm talking about people that I don't know, but there are some people that I would not want to shame. I would not want to shame my pastors, past pastors that I done been through their church. I wouldn't want to shame my family, my husband, my children. There are so many people that I would not want to shame, and I do care what they think. So we don't give a F. Lets us know kind of, where your mindset is, and it proves a lot of the receipts that people say that they call them modern women. These modern women have gone off the rails, right? So, what am I saying? In all of this, I think that we need to go back to the drawing board as it relates to what we glamorize on the internet, because there is another generation that are coming behind us, and we see the effects of what we've already done as Generation X, right? With our children, with um, softening the rules too much, soft pedaling. Everybody gets an award. You don't have to be good. You don't have to take care of your body. You can get big as a house and everybody's going to love you. That is not, no. We're seeing the effects in the generation coming behind us. Now, the millennials and Generation Z, they're getting to the point to where they are having children now. And so the generations are just getting wiser, but weaker. Their resilience just to life as a whole is questionable. I was watching someone on, I think it was Instagram, and they were showing how um, each generation handles certain things like chores and things like that. And it's hilarious that, in the 80s, when I grew up as a teenager, preteen up until, because I was a full-fledged teenager in the 90s, but I was a preteen in the in my early parts of my teenage years in the 80s. And we just knew we had chores. We didn't, I mean, you griped about it a little bit, but you knew you had to get down. You had to bust some suds. You had to do some dusting. I can remember being about 9 years old, having to dust. That was my job. And yeah, it was just a thing. It was just, and so on that Instagram reel, the lady was showing how, she just put a Walkman on and go and do the dishes, and you dancing and you doing the dishes and you dancing and but she showed the generations coming behind us, the millennials and the Generation Z, they done fell out on the floor crying because somebody told them to do some chores. They don't feel like their stomach hurt, their head hurt. Oh my God, I got to protest. What? Okay. Yeah. So it's different. But I think, again, we need to go back to the drawing board and try to see what we doing here. You go to the drive-through or to different establishments, you don't know really what to call people. Sir, ma'am, his, her. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. Because you look and you appear, but oh, I'm sorry. You don't know what to do. It's just one of those things that is like it's creating chaos. It's really creating a chaotic world. And we can't put that back on God. We got to put that on us because this is the environment that we are creating. So listen, I just am telling y'all all of this just so you know. That's all I got to say for today, you guys. But if by chance you have been enlightened, you have enjoyed, chuckled, or something within this show, I want you to reach down there and hit that like button. And I want you to subscribe to my channel. Why I be getting mixed up, y'all? I don't know what this nerves when I click that button on this camera. I don't know what it is, but yeah, subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so you'll know of all the new conversations and all the new shows that I'll have in the future. Y'all be blessed today, and I'll talk to you guys back real soon. Bye for now.